Hey, babe. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I love you and God loves you best. Welcome back to my channel. We are here for another review of Life After Lockup Season 5, Episode 46, Love Bombs. This episode it was cute. Quite frankly, I could do without Justine and Michael's story and Key Rock and Brittany's story. If we just knock those out, I would be content with the mess. But it's a part of it, so we got to keep it in. And the episode starts with Brittany and Key Rock. They are at their elopement ceremony. And before the officiant can even get started, he says, I want you both to take a deep breath. And then Brittany says, can we have a moment, please? She takes Key Rock over to the side and lets Key Rock know that she had a little conversation with the PO officer. And they informed her that it might not be in their best interest to get married right now because the state frowns upon people trying to defraud them. So this is one of those situations. It's like prevention is better than the cure. So when Brittany tells Key Rock, she's like, well, why didn't you tell me this? And she was like, because I love you, and love has nothing to do with why you withheld this information. Nothing. Why did you withhold the information, Brittany? And on top of that, still buy a dress because you bought that dress. But she goes into this whole spiel about, I know you really wanted this and I love you, but this is not what we planned and our family isn't here. And again, now I'm starting to even wonder if Brittany really, truly wants to marry Key Rock. I'm not saying that she doesn't want to be with Key Rock. I'm not saying that she does not love Key Rock in some form. However, that does not mean that she may not want to actually marry Key Rock. So, because she's coming up with all these excuses, and I'm like, at the end of the day, this is just a formality. It's like going to the courthouse and having a big ceremony versus doing the big ceremony first. You're married, and your union, it should be the important thing. Your union, it should be what matters. But I don't know. Key Rock was like, I thought this was what you wanted. And he's like, you know what? I just need a minute. I just need to think right now. So Key Rock feeling stupid. It's like, I did all of this, and then, she dropped this bomb on me when she could have told me this, like, when she first found out. I don't know what the time frame is in between the planning and the phone call. Nevertheless, it could have been done the same day. And so then Brittany goes over to Coffee, and Brittany's friend Shayla, and shares with them that she told Key Rock the information about what the PO said. And so you're like, well, is he upset? Well, hell yeah, he upset. But is it me, or did it look like Shayla had a little smirk on her face? Like, it was like a little, not really like a laugh, and it wasn't, it was kind of a devious looking grin, but trying to contain it. Maybe it's just me, but it looked like she just might have got a little bit of satisfaction out of that chaos. I don't know. Even when she was talking to Brittany about calling the PO, and I'm thinking to myself, if you really, truly want this to look authentic, why would you even call the PO to ask, hey, PO, what would it look like? Or what would it mean? What would it look like if Key-Rock and I decide to go ahead and get married? Who does that? If you were going to get married, you go ahead and get married. Y'all like my Jack Skeleton cup? Yeah. You don't take that time to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to ride it out and it'll be fine. We're not going to worry about it. But let me just call the state to find out if they approve of my arrangements. You're trying to get somewhere. Nevertheless, I feel like Brittany did a little bit of self-sabotage on purpose with that whole situation. Key-Rock said, you know what? How about this? How about I just go ahead and go to Texas without you? That's what I'm going to do. I said, ooh. So Key-Rock decides that he's going to Texas without Brittany. So they leave the ceremony, or the ceremony that never happened. They on their way back to the apartment with coffee. And they going in, and Key-Rock was like, this cake not going to waste. I was like, I know that's right. Waste not, won't not. And so then the next day, Key-Rock is packing, preparing to leave for Texas. And Brittany is like, you know what? I'm not in the mood to have a bad day, so I'm not going to go through this with you, Key-Rock. You're not going nowhere. I'm like, what? I say, who, huh, what? Because I could have swore Key-Rock said that he had a job already in Texas, and he's trying to prevent from losing said job so that he can pay and afford the apartment or condo that he already has a lease on. Because remember, he couldn't get out of the lease, so he's paying rent on said lease out of savings. Okay, so Key-Rock was like, fuck it, I'm going to Texas. She's like, no, you're not. Key-Rock's like, I'm not going through this with you. And so proceeds to go ahead and lock up that luggage. This heifer comes and sits her behind on the luggage. And I'm like, okay, I see what kind Brittany is. Brittany is the kind that'll be like, yeah, rah, rah, rah. And then you say, you know what? Fuck it, I'm out. She goes and runs in front of the door and be like, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to stay right here. And we going to talk about it. We going to talk through this. And we going to fix it. You not leaving. She want to hold a bitch hostage. So then Key-Rock was like, you know what? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. And went ahead and walked out the apartment. True to form, Brittany goes right behind Key-Rock. Key-Rock's like, you got all these people looking at us. It's like, look, I'm not even sweating the elopement or the marriage that never happened. Why am I wasting my time waiting for you when you may not be able to go? And she's like, well, why can't you just wait one more week? And he's like, so if I wait another week, would I still be mad about us not getting married if I left a week later? She's like, I just feel like what if they tell me that I'm approved this time and then you already left? If they tell me I'm approved, then we can leave together. I don't see them telling her that she's approved. And you was just encouraging Key-Rock before to go ahead and go to Texas. Why wait on you when he off papers and he could go ahead and start, taking care of stuff in Texas? Now it's wait another week. when you didn't even want to marry homeboy. Like, he was trying to figure out a way to get y'all out of the situation y'all in, and you go and you sabotage it. And now you saying, no, stay here with me in this hellhole of Virginia that you don't even want to be in. But in the end, Key-Rock broke down and was like, you know what, bitch, fine. I'm going to stay an extra week. That's what you need? I'm going to give it to you. You get one more week, and then I'm out. Now we're going to move on to Daniel and Bianca. I'm going to say it every week. I don't like this bitch. I just want to beat her ass on GP. Like, I feel like I can because we both Floridians. I know that's a dumbass logic right now, but I'm dealing with a dumbass person. So I'm going to apply dumbass logic, okay? That in the end would yield her an ass whooping. Daniel got a job. So happy. Shout out to all the employers giving second chances. He got a job with the moving company. And his boss is the owner of the moving company. The owner, he had a situation in his past one time where, you know, he got into some trouble when he was younger. And he had to serve some time. He did 9 months. When he got out, nobody wanted to give him a job except his daddy. Daddy gave him a job. He went ahead and bought a diesel. And on his lunch breaks, he started moving refrigerators and sofas and things like that, which is what got him to build the moving company that he has today. So he himself is a testimony. And I think that's good because Daniel needs that encouragement. He needs that to not only help him in his employment journey, but in his sobriety, because that is very important. It's crucial at this point. But he is getting ready for work and all of this stuff, and he asked Bianca, you know, she's going to take him to work, but she's like, are you expecting me to pick you up? Because I have to see what my day looks like. And I'm like, bitch, you don't have no friends there. You don't have no family there. You don't have a job there. All you got is that vehicle, that apartment, your cell phone, and that straggly, raggedy hair you be playing in all the time. So what do you have that is going to tie up your day that you can't pick this man up? First of all, Bianca speaks like, you know, ever since he's gotten out, I've been having to support him. I've been having to pay for everything. I feel like his sugar mama. I'm like, bitch, what did you expect? This man has been incarcerated for 5 years. He has nothing to his name. And you took that responsibility on when you said, I want to be with you. You took on the responsibility of, I know that when you get out, I am going to have to support you. When you said, I love you, I want to be with you. You took on the responsibility of knowing in your mind that, okay, this is what I'm getting on into when you moved from Florida all the way to Arizona. That was you saying, I choose you. So now why is your tune changing and going flat when he's like, I need you to pick me up if it's okay and drop me off if that'll be all right. But he got to spend money on Ubers and Lyfts. That don't make no sense. Like, you have no idea or any knowledge of accounting or finance. Because if you did, you would realize that those are unnecessary expenses that are a deficit to the both of you. Who cares about your little settlement money? Because how you blowing through it, buying it little elves that look like you, little elf figurines, and spending $137. Let me just round that up to $140 on figurines in this gnome game card store. What good is that gonna do you too? And you said, oh, I just thought it would be something that would be fun for us to do. Moreover, you sitting on the phone talking shit about Daniel to your friend Haley, talking about we've been bumping heads and he's been doing these little things. We've been getting into a lot of arguments, and he doesn't realize that I do everything for him. I put a roof over his head. Ooh, put a roof over his head. Girl, I mean, you not his mama. Quite frankly, he needs to call his mama and see what he could do. I know he don't want to be in that half house. I know sometimes that's like not even conducive to your rehabilitation and reacclimation into society. That's probably even worse. Be a detriment to him, his parole or probation, and his sobriety. So I understand why he wouldn't want to go there. But maybe, I don't know, if Robert lived there, who else lived there? Somebody got to live there. How did you end up in Arizona, bruh? Did they ship you to Arizona and then now that's where you at? Because that's even worse. How did you end up in Arizona and you have nobody there? And this gnome looking ass bitch had to move. She didn't have to. She chose to move to be there with you. And now she throwing up in your face what she do for you. That's not a good look. So he calling her on the phone. And she ignoring his calls. And she's talking about, oh my God, he's so annoying. No. He's not. But you are. You are annoying. You are like insufferable. You a nag. You are a nag. And I always said to myself, Lord, please, whatever you make me to be, don't ever let a man call me a nag. Please, Lord. And I can say in all my years that a man has never called me a nag. I've been called some things, but it's not a nag. Daniel is trying to understand, like, okay, I make $20 an hour. I'm part-time. I did 7 hours today. That alone was $140. I know she got her little settlement money, but when that run out, who is going to support her little whims? And like, what is she planning on doing? He's like, because I'm not doing it. And I concur. Like, that's not your responsibility. She has no sense of responsibility at this point. She's just thinking like, I got it. Not only do I have it like that. This is what I'm going to tell you. In my experience, and this is like with my time working in a personal injury law firm, because of the extent of said injury, because of Edwina Scissorhand, she probably, and I'm just estimating right up out of the air, she could have gotten at the highest, maybe, $1 million, 1.2 million, somewhere up in there, because, fees and stuff gonna come out of that. The hospital, the attorney fees, all they pulling that up out of there. But she may have gotten 1.2 million, and after that, settled it up. She might have brought home, up in the upper 700,000-800,000. And that is a substantial amount of money. But it's nothing when you have nothing coming in. You only have money going out. and you have an apartment. You say you paid the lease up for 4 months. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I don't know what you're gonna do after those 4 months. But I'm sure the car is paid for. I'm sure she doesn't have a note on that car. But she has, and then you just spending, because see, that's how money is. You like spending 200 here, 300 here, 500 there, and you're not thinking about it because you still thinking about that 800,000. But that 800,000 has become now 650 because of your little splurring spending here and there. But she's like, she also mentioned, oh, he hasn't told me that he wanted to get engaged yet, and I feel like he love bombed me. Little does she know that he did get a ring. He just didn't give it to that bitch yet, and he should never give it to her. Don't ever give it to her, Daniel. Don't ever give her the ring. Is that all I gotta say about that hoe? Yes. Moving right along, Justine and Michael. Okay, so I was up with them recapping the meeting with the attorney, and Mike expresses again how he was hurt, and then he created like this struggling metaphor about blending the families, doing the blending. Yeah, he said, you know, we're a blended family, we're blended, and you trying to unblend it just because when you was mixing it in the blender, a little bit spilled out. And you know what's messed up? The scary part is that I really do understand what he was trying to convey. Because I really shouldn't, but I do. And I don't know what that say about me. Yikes. Okay. And they start talking about Michael's mommy is coming to live with he and Justine. Like, coming to live with them. Not like coming to visit. She is coming to live with them. Because what had happened was, back in New York, her other son was cooking something, and then all of a sudden a loud boom happened, and the house went up in flames. Now, it could be as innocent and just as innocent as trying to fry a turkey, which would be negligent. But it could be as stupid as trying to cook some meth in the basement. If they have basements there in, I don't know, do they have basements in New York? Do they have basements? I don't know, because we don't have basements in Florida. But if they do have basements, it's just as... But he was cooking something, and kaboom, and the house went up. So yeah, mommy came to live with Michael and Justine. So it was just about Justine getting anxiety. She's getting real nervous about the mom coming to live with her and Michael because of their contentious relationship. And the crazy part is they used to be friends. And it seemed like that friendship broke down after Justine started dating Michael. But the mama was the one that introduced Justine to Michael. So I don't know how their relationship broke down. Well, they told us, but I didn't care to remember. That's seasons ago. But they've been rocky ever since. And then she did some messy shit last season and bought a paternity test because of the little infant baby that they got right now. She brought a paternity test because she had doubts that that was Michael's baby. I don't know if she truly had doubts or she was just being messy. Either way, it's none of your business, and people don't have money to be just wasting on items that other people really need. And so Justine is nervous. She's talking to Melody, which is Michael's daughter, about why she chose not to tell Grandmama about the pregnancy. And Melody's like, we have a really strong relationship, and myself or my dad have never kept anything from my grandma, and I feel like I'm lying to her. She was like, well, you got to understand where I'm coming from, and after what she pulled with the last baby, and I don't know what bag she gonna come out of this time, and I don't have time for her hurting my feelings, which is gonna hurt your dad's feelings. And you know what? This conversation is concluded, and I'm gonna go find my husband. And the daughter was looking at her like, bitch, really? But she had that phone like this while she was walking with the basket, because they were in the supermarket. They went grocery shopping, so they were in the supermarket and they were having this conversation. She pushing the basket, but she holding the phone like this. Nobody walks like this with their phone while they pushing a basket, with the face part up. It's usually gonna be like this if you're gonna hold it, or if you're gonna lean on the buggy. It'll be usually just normal body arrangements, normal body movements. When you're leaning on something, you usually arm cross, palm down. Palm is not up. So with that being said, who was on that phone, Melody? Was somebody on that phone that was listening and they was muted, and because the screen was black so nobody could see it? So who was on the phone? And that's just my educated guess, my hypothesis, that somebody might have been on the phone when they was having this conversation in the supermarket. But anyway, we see that later on, the mom calls Michael and she lets him know that she's gotten there. She took 2 trains and a bus to get there. When I'm like, why didn't they just buy her a plane ticket? Well, how could they buy her a plane? I mean, wouldn't it have been more cost effective? 2 trains and a bus versus a plane ticket? A one-way plane ticket on who? Spirit, JetBlue, Southwest. And I started with Spirit because, maybe if you're trying to be cost effective, because money is tight as an ant's butthole. So I'm thinking, but a one-way ticket versus all these different modes of transportation, it sounded real chaotic. It sounded real long. It sounded real tiring. It sounded like I wouldn't want to do it. And so she gets there. Justine is nervous. Mike said, don't worry about it. And he goes to pick up his mom on the ride. He's sharing with his mom how happy he is to see her. She said, they run like a pack of wolves. They tight like that. And so Michael also discusses with his mom the dynamics of the household. And he's letting her know, while you are a part of the family and you will be living with us, you don't run this shit. So we don't want you coming in making us feel like you taking over. You're going to have to, observe, read the room, look at how things go, pretty much letting her know you a guest and stay in your place. So the mama said her response to that was, she was real quiet. When they pulled up to the house, she said, your plants need water. Your plants need water. I said, okay, girl, you got it. So Michael told her, welcome home. All the babies, all the grandchildren greeted grandmama, and they were happy to see abuela. And so she went outside by the pool, which is where Justine was. Justine got herself covered up with a blanket, and I know it's warm there in Nevada, but she got a blanket across her. And so the mama, or maybe it was just a towel, I don't know, but it was wide and it was big, to cover her. And the mama comes outside to the pool, and she sees her, and she's like, oh, she went over to greet her and stuff. And at first I was like, that looked real messed up that you didn't stand up to greet that lady. But I was like, I know why you didn't, but that would have kind of rubbed me raw. I'm coming over to greet you and you just sitting down. But she gave her a hug and a kiss and everything. And so then Michael had the baby. So then the grandma took the baby, and she playing with the baby, and she loving on the little baby. And so Michael was like, rip the band-aid off. Just rip it off. Just gonna get it over with. It's like, I don't know what she gonna say. Well, whatever she say, we gonna deal with it. It's what it is. She here now. Let's do it. So he holding her hand, and she's like, bitch, I'm scared. I'm scared. So he like, just go ahead and do it. So then she got up in all her glory. And so Michael said, Ma, look at this. And he rubbed her little pouch. And the mama said, so we're going to see how that plays out now that mama has seen Justine's Billy. And now we're moving over to Joey and Kim. So they at the divorce attorney's office, and they are seeking advice, seeking counsel on divorce process, and also discussing paternity, because Kim explains they haven't been together, and they had signed legal separation papers, so they are legally separated and haven't been together. But they're looking to buy a house, and she wanted to know, will he have any claim to said house if we purchase a home, because we're still married. So the attorney was like, well, the ideal thing to do would be you get a divorce and then buy your house. But I mean, there would be other tape to go through. And I'm like, what other tape or documentation would there be to go through if she got a divorce and then she got married and bought her house? Like, I don't know, because I don't know anything about, even though I am a divorcee, we had no joint assets. So I don't know, it gets more involved when you do have things that are entangled. So I didn't even change my last name. Nevertheless, Kim and Joey are discussing, how does this affect us? That's what the attorney says. Then Kim brings up, okay, we also have a paternity issue. I was pregnant with my first son, and there's a possibility that it could be his son. So the attorney, they just sitting there looking like, So then she's like, what do we do in that case? Because my ex-husband, or my soon-to-be ex-husband, he pays child support. He's been paying $2,500 a month since we have been apart. So he been paying $2,500 a month. So it was like, okay, well, you would want to, he has legal claim under the statutes of the law. And so if he's not the father, then he would want to prove paternity. And Joey interjects and is like, well, what if we prove paternity and show that he's not the father if he in fact is not? And instead of him doing it, then what? They were like, well, you could order a petition to, go through with the other legal steps to get that changed, get that all switched up. But they were like, but then there is the matter of the money that he has dispersed in child support for said child. The situation would be he's paid $2,500 a month, so you would roughly owe him $20,000 back in child support payments. Her face went like, say what now? You're going to have to pay that money back, Kim. And then child support is going to drop. This is Miss $15 an hour. So now we know how you've been scratching and surviving. Now we possibly know how you were able to afford another vehicle for Joey. So yeah. So she was like, well, I don't have that kind of money to be paying him back. I mean, and I need that money to support my kids. So like, now she really thinking about this paternity thing. Like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And Joey had the caucasity to say, well, we could just pay him $10 a month for the rest of his life to pay it off, to pay off the debt. See, you don't need people like that in your life, Kim. And now she's scared, and Joey just want to be somebody's daddy. Tenny and Rob. Alright, so Rob say, we start out with Rob talking about he gonna keep his tattoo until Tenny start working. And then he came back in the house. She apologized for the fool-la-la that she said to him about said tattoo. And she was like, I was just saying it because you was throwing up in my face about working or not working for that matter. And I told you it's nothing. I'm going to get a job. And in fact, she did. She got a job. And the lady said the sign, I guess her offer letter was 50. So I'm assuming that was 50,000. I was like, all right, go ahead, Miss Tina. I ain't mad at it. She coming out the gate with a substantial salary, with a decent salary. So they decide to have a date night. So they have date night, and first question out of Rob's mouth is, well, since you got a job now, maybe we could think about expanding our family. And I'm like, nigga, what? She ain't even started working yet, and you talking about her and half on a baby? And she up there drinking the Kool-Aid, talking about, I could definitely see a beautiful brown baby between the both of us, either your skin complexion or mine, with my eyes and your lips. And I'm like, this is... And so they are really on this baby kick. And she's like, but she got her concerns, because she like, I'm not trying to be a third time baby mama and be left with a baby because you decided that this wasn't what you want to do. And he's like, I'm a stand-up guy. If I say I'm in it, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. And so she was like, all right then. So they leave the date night. They go home, and they was like, all right. She say, I'm ready to go half. He's like, for real? She was like, hey, drink now before I change my mind. He was like, say less. And he grabbed up all these condoms. He grabbed up all these condoms out the drawer, and he gave it to the camera people. He was like, here, y'all might need these. And I'm like, Ooh, y'all got a lot of condoms. Why y'all got all them condoms? And somebody on Twitter X said they got all them condoms because Teeny know what Rob might have been doing while he was locked up. And I was like, oh, why y'all say that about that man? I've been seeing people call him sweetness. I've been seeing people call him sugar and spice. And I'm like, why y'all say that about poor Rob? What is it about Robert that make y'all say that? Because of his mild-mannered nature? Is that what it is? Because I haven't seen any body language that gave me the inkling that he might be down with a different kind of swirl. I mean, he just not giving me that. But I don't know. I'm going to keep watching to see if I get anything that's going to make me say otherwise. So, date night concluded with them agreeing to go half on a baby. And then last but not least, we got Zaria and Troy. So, they meet up at the they not meet, but they go to the dispensary. Troy is excited because he's going to the dispensary for the first time, and you know they in New York, so it's legal in New York. And he's like, man, you ain't got to call nobody, you ain't got to meet nobody on the block no more. He was like, this is the life, this is a privilege. And so they looking at the edibles and the pre-rolls and the indicas and the sativas and the pills and all that good stuff. So then a bud tender comes over and asks them, you know, y'all looking at. And so they get some things and they get their little package, and then they go to the nature center, out to the park, to the nature center. And they sitting out there, and then they having a little heart to heart. And Zaria is letting him know that she is so thankful and appreciative of him adopting her son Azael. She's like, because you know he actually has a father, and he loves and admires and looks up to you so much. So I never properly thanked you, and I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for doing that for my son. And so, you know, Troy gets a little emotional and he starts to shed some tears. I don't know if it was the pre-roll, but he does seem like a passionate, sensitive person to me from what I've seen from last season and this season. And I think that's part of his true nature, which is admirable. And he's just saying he wants to be the best man he can for his family. But he's like, you know, I want to have a good relationship with Azael. But then she started talking about her. Now she talking about going half on the baby. I'm like, oh Lord, what's all these people want to make these babies? So then she talking about making a baby. So then he like, well, you know, that's another life. We already got two. I mean, I'm good with, I like even numbers. Me too. And so she's like, well, he don't know that I'm not on the pill no more because I stopped taking it because it was causing me to break out. It was the pill that was causing you to break out, Xanadu? If you say so, because your face ain't cleared up yet. And so they talking about going half on a baby. She not on no birth control. And then the next day we see Troy getting himself ready to take Azael, aka Monkey Man. What kind of nickname is Monkey Man? To the museum. I guess it's the Museum of Natural Arts. Because he was saying that he was looking forward to going and seeing the dinosaur exhibit, yada, yada, yada. That was Azael. Now, Zaria, Zoolander, she had concerns with Troy and the discipline aspect being out with Azael for the first time and them just going olo dolo. And he's like, what if he started running around, give you attitude, running away, throwing tantrums? And I was like, he 11 years old. And so is Nehemiah. Nehemiah is very mature. He's so mature. He was chilling with his sister, and when they was getting ready to go on date night, he told his mama, don't do nothing stupid. I said, oh, who is the parent? Who is the parent? Is he Generation Alpha? Is that what Generation Alpha look like? Oh, my land. So I'm like, I was drawing a disconnect between the maturity level of these two 11-year-olds. And I'm going to just leave it at that. And y'all drop down in the comment section and let me know what I'm missing. But he's like, look, I'm going to let him be a child. Let a child be a child. But when it's time to discipline, he going to know that I'm not playing with him. And it's like, oh, okay. So then we get a phone call. We get a phone call, and Troy, which I observed, goes into his man bag, and he gets his cell phone, and it's Miss Karen on the phone. He's like, hey, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, we got a problem. I'm like, uh-oh. And so that's where things conclude, and we are at the end of the review. And I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to keep asking you until you actually do me that solid, okay? One, I thank you so much for watching this video this evening with me, because it is, well, morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you watching this piece up and through here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to spend it with me. And I'm going to ask you to drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Comment on whoever you want to comment, and tell me whatever you want to tell me about them, because I'm sure that I have something to share with you too. And then, as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, bye.